Welcome back to another episode of Our Life, you guys. The last time we did Sandcastle and Ghosts, we did those moments. So let's just move on to, we can move on to Long Day. I don't know what that's about, but let's get right into it. And there's the YouTube intro. It was another scorching summer day. The kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already filling it up again. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since Cove had arrived. Where is Cove? Girl, I am not playing this game to hang out with you, Shiloh. You can go on and get lost. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked to you for all the answers. It made you feel pleased, frustrated? Nothing really. There was just a void in my heart when I spoke to Shiloh. Shiloh went along with whatever you wanted, so he wasn't a bother, but he also wasn't that much fun. Oh my god, let's call him out. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold and refreshing. Something sweet. Something like Cove. A popsicle, an ice cream cone, an ice cream sandwich, whatever. What would I want? Probably a popsicle. You wanted something fruity and brightly colored. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look, your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained. But they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products. Oh, capitalism. This is not the ideal society. You asked Shiloh for help, you voiced your predicament out loud. Yeah, let's just say it out loud. Shiloh, help us, you little gremlin. I want a popsicle. Shiloh, make it happen. Shiloh, who had been draped over the sofa, perked up.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay, Shiloh, so where's my popsicle? We don't have anything like that in the house, and I don't have any money. Oh, let me check if I have any. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins, plus one stray button. Dude. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1. You announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. It's a start, I guess, dude. Shiloh beamed at you. We'll need to find some more. Okay. The two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Most of what you found was useless or gross. Bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust or sandy crumbs, ew. But every so often, you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Your mind wanted no sweets someone calls CPS. Sweets are bad for kids. Your mind wandered to the $20 bill tucked away in your room. It was enough for you and Shiloh to get whatever you wanted and more, but you didn't take it out. That was too special to hand over so freely. That's my money. We're spending Shiloh's money today, okay? Besides, Shiloh would be curious about where it came from, and might even mention your wealth to Lizzie. The exchange had been a secret. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook, the two of you finished pooling your finds. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 buttons. Why are you collecting the buttons? You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You figured he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any other feelings you might have had about that. Yeah. You could now afford something at the shops. Just one thing. But that was infinitely better than none. Shiloh clapped his hands. Sorry, Shiloh. Don't say yay just yet. There's only enough for me. The two of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you on your on to your destination where, breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed the funds to get the treat. He seemed to notice your pause. Aren't you getting a popsicle? Shiloh asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision, rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. You went ahead and got what you wanted. Are you really sure it's okay? You tried to get something you both wanted anyway. Oh my gosh, fine. Are you really sure it's okay, baby? Does baby not want a popsicle anymore? Yeah. Really? Really? Pleased, you both bought the dessert you longed for. Sweet success. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You sucked on the fruity popsicle you'd bought. The icy treat cooled you down perfectly, and the zesty flavor was so refreshing. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head. Oh, gross, we're sharing this popsicle? I thought that might be the case, but I didn't want to believe that was what was happening here, but that is. What? You nasty.
You can finish it.
God. You damn straight I can finish it. I don't want your slobber on my popsicle. He didn't want any? After everything he did to help get it? That was weird. You tried to include Shiloh. Here, have some of all the saliva I spit on this damn popsicle. Taste it in your mouth. Do you taste me in your mouth, Shiloh? Even if Shiloh said it was okay, every story you'd ever seen on TV or read in a book said that sharing was caring. You stood your ground, even as the treat started to trickle dangerously towards your fingers. It's only fair that you have some. We both bought it. But you want it more than I do. And getting to play was a lot of fun already. So you can have it. That's more fair. You held it out to him. I want you to have some more. Even more than... I want you to have some even more than I want to finish it. So eat your part. Relenting, Shiloh took the treat and gave it a taste. His eyes lit up. Yeah, I taste pretty good, don't I? It's really good. Thank you. Don't get too addicted to that flavor, because that's just for Cove, honey, okay? You smiled, pleased with your good deed. You picked the best one. Did he mean that? Shiloh was always nice no matter what happened. Even if he hated it, you knew he wouldn't say so. Maybe he thought it was gross, and that's the real reason why he didn't want to take some. You had no idea. You studied him as he ate a little more. He had every appearance of enjoying himself. Still weird. The two of you began to head home as he ate. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but you kept your thoughts drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt, or was too afraid to. You figured that was his problem and didn't care. Are you scared of me? You thought that was kind of sad. Are we friends? Shiloh opened his eyes wide, seemingly caught off guard by the blunt question. Yeah, I think so. He says that, but friends should be able to talk to each other without being scared. If Shiloh wouldn't do that, were you really friends at all? He rubbed his hands nervously over your non-reaction.
I'm sorry.
You weren't sure how he could be... You weren't sure how sorry he could be without knowing what he's even apologizing for, but you shook your head. You didn't do anything. It was true. Shiloh hadn't done something mean. He got out of his way to make you happy. That didn't make it seem like it should be a bad thing, yet it bothered you. I just don't know if you like me. It's like, it doesn't matter what I do, you're gonna act the same. I could be anybody and you wouldn't care. No, I like you. I really, really like you, Joseph. Okay, calm down there. I told you, Cove is my man. I want to be friends. It's as soon as you taste some of my spit, you just want some of this ass, don't you? Okay. You smiled hesitantly at him, and his fidgeting ceased. Even though you weren't sure if you believed him, this was only making things worse. You decided that maybe they were all types of friends. If Shiloh wasn't able to do things differently, this would have to be alright. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with just him. There had been good times and there had been confusing ones. You were positive of one thing at least. The treat was delicious and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. Oh my god, sis, if you were trying to grind on Cove today, oh my god, you were trying to shake your damn ass. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. You hurt him? Oh my god. I'm gonna have to destroy you, Lizzie. You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you defended Cove, took a moment to make a joke, accused Lizzie of causing trouble. I'm defending Cove. You didn't even know what was happening, but that wasn't going to stop you from fixing whatever was wrong. Cove? Joseph? Why are you crying? Who bothered you?
Joseph!
I got yelled at. He took a deep, steadying breath. Some grandparents got mad at me. Aw, sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. Yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I can do?
No.
No, I'm just gonna stay away. Or you could teach them a lesson. There was a devilish glint in her eyes. What? You should ding-a-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're so slow. They'll never catch you. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again.
You're just saying that because you're a quack, quack, quack chicken.
A cluck, cluck, cluck? Okay, let's hear it again.
You're just saying that because you're a quack, quack, quack chicken.
I don't hear the cluck. I hear there's something more like a bark, but fine, sis. Cove glared, but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you. You're not a chicken, are you? You'd rather just avoid them. You thought they deserved worse. I thought they deserved worse. Or should I do it? I thought they deserved worse. No, I'll do it. Really? You took a deep breath and nodded. Lizzie squealed with delight. Well, go hide. Run as soon as you hit the bell. Good luck. Lizzie and Shiloh ran across the road to take shelter in the bushes. Even once they'd settled down, you could make out two child-sized shapes staring from between the leaves. You knew where to look for them though, and so you told yourself that the grouchy old people wouldn't spot it. Cove sighed, his gaze flicking to the house and then back to you. Oh, they're old, nobody will notice if they have an accident and fall down the stairs. Agree. Don't get caught. It'll be okay. He went to join Lizzie and Shiloh in their hideaway. The weight of the three pairs of eyes on your back was heavier than anything you'd carried before as you approached the door. You hesitated as you reached for the doorbell, then... You rung it? You didn't ring it? Yeah, let's ring it. You slapped the buzzer and ran. Blood thumped against your eardrums with every step. Would you make it in time? Approaching the hiding spot, you knew that there wasn't time to go around the bushes as the others had done. You took a shortcut, leaping over them. Or would it be more accurate, crashing into the tops of the bushes and then falling over to the other side? Judging from the squeak, it was Shiloh who cushioned your fall. Shh. Lizzie put a finger to her lips and nodded at the house. You disentangled your limbs from Shiloh's. Shiloh, you need to get off of me, okay? You've been entangling your limbs with me, sucking on my spit, telling me how much you really, really like me. It's weird. And spun around to see the old man framed in the doorway, peering back and forth suspiciously. You covered your mouth with your hands, but it wasn't enough to stifle your giggles. Maybe he spotted one of you, or maybe it was the leaves you displaced while jumping, but he locked eyes with the bush and stormed over in your direction. Shiloh gasped and looked to Lizzie. Run! Your sister did not hesitate to take her own advice. Neither did you and Shiloh. Cove, with just the one fully operational arm, took a little longer to get to his feet, but still caught up to Shiloh with ease. Girl, why do you need both arms to get up? Just stand up. Use your legs. The old man's haulers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache of your legs. You flopped down, the blades of glass tickling your face. I think I said glass, not grass. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The four of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin.
Cove.
Cove lifted his head. I told you they were mean grandparents round here. Cove rolled his eyes, then decided this wasn't dismissive enough, and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. And it was fine, you thought. You still felt sad after how much time you spent together today. I still felt sad, especially because he was totally all over me today. You had been hoping the two of you might become closer, but you had to let it go. He was happy where he was, jerk. You think you can just come on to me like that, then go to my sister? You closed your eyes, laid on your side and relaxed. Some time passed with you like that. It felt good to take a real break. Oh, look at our cute little man again. Do you guys see our cute little man? Can you believe he's just 8 years old? You moved on to your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blankets of clouds reminded you of a thick throw you curled under... Wait, a thick throw you curled under on cold rainy days? You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. They lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. Jail? Jail for what? All I said was he was a cute little man. Alright, you saw the cloud shapes, you saw a smiley face, saw an alpaca. I guess we saw a dolphin, I don't know. You saw a dolphin leaping through the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Look, a dolphin! Cove joined you in gazing skywards. Yeah, I see it. Really? No, but I like dolphins. Hey. He chuckled at your reaction. All the sun's light faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs, and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean visible from the crest of the hill beckoned with every sweep of the tide. Let's go to the beach! There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh. Shouldn't we go home by now? It's dark. And Cove could never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You wanted to go there too. We're happy the others wanted to. Objected to the plan. We're too tired to argue. I'm just too tired of all your guys' crap. It had been a long, hot day. You weren't bothered about going there, but you'd rather do that than make a scene. You stepped onto the sand for a second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sandcastles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been only hours earlier. The four of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge. The waves tickled your feet. You guys are gonna get caught by the tide and you're gonna drown and die. I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean with shampoo and everything. That would be bad for the fish.
Jeez.
I didn't say anyone would do it. Jeez, you don't have to be so serious about everything. You're the one who asked what would happen. This is what would happen. It would hurt the fishes. I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun. Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious. You've never heard Lizzie use that word before. Oh, she learned a new word at school. She thinks she's that bee now. Okay, Lizzie. Flex your vocabulary on us. Fucking bee. Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm gonna do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while. She's busy. It's like literally 8 p.m. What do you mean? What do you mean she's busy? How long is she gonna leave you out here? What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does. Don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about? Well, she just spoke some mad truth right there. You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed by the waves. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both of your moms. It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Joseph. I don't have a dad. But I don't have two moms. I just have one. She's really great, but she's not a hot lesbian. So, you know, it's not as great as Joseph and Lizzie. Oh, sorry. I only have one now too. My mom isn't here. She's also not a lesbian. She's back at home. It's just my dad with me.
Sorry.
I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad that your mom is gone. Cove nodded. You joked about Shiloh's mom getting together with Cove's dad. Even if they're all different, her parents are good in their own ways. Alright, maybe they'll get together. You didn't have anything comforting to say to that, so you just tried to lighten the mood instead. Do they have a house key? I'm worried they're gonna get snatched. Ooh, who wouldn't snatch these cuties? Hey, since you both only have one parent, Cove's dad could marry Shiloh's mom. Then you two would be brothers. Cove stopped abruptly, his face set hard.
No!
My dad isn't going to do that. I don't know, your dad looks like he wants to get that D wet. Shiloh tugged at the rim of his hat. God, we're just a really bad influence on these children. Sadly, not everyone can have smoking hot lesbians as parents. I know. Why is the world so unfair? I don't understand. If only. Neither is my mom. She doesn't want to marry anybody. I told you people, this wasn't a good thing to talk about. It seemed your plan backfired and the mood soured even more. You didn't know what to do. The silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sodden sand splattered against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves to make a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. You made a run for it, you retaliated. Honey, you going down? I'm gonna destroy you. You used your foot to smack the water pooling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back onto your sister. You laughed as she sputtered, some of the salty seawater having landed in her mouth. She spat it out. Yuck! Lizzie chased you, intent on revenge. I guess they don't appreciate it when you shit people you know. You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war. Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused by him falling face first onto the ground. That would have been bad enough without the wave that followed, cascading over his prone body. Oh my god, we killed Shiloh! Shiloh shot up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain as you all hurried over to check on him. His hair was plastered to his face and his soaked clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it. That was crazy. Are you okay? Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over.
You Dumbo.
Way to go, Shiloh! You offered him some help? Get up to your feet. Shiloh didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you dropped it. Okay, I guess I just threw my hand out there for no one to take it. Whatever, guess you're too good to touch me now. You know, Lizzie, just a couple hours ago, he had an indirect kiss with me, Lizzie. How do you feel about that? Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out to Shiloh too. Shiloh? I'm done with you. You are a little simp. You're a little simp, and you're never gonna have her, okay? You're just gonna keep simping for her until you die. He reached over and took it. Slowly he started to pull himself up from the ground. Then he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them.
Sorry.
What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low. But there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose, then pretend it was an accident. Especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy. But that didn't stop Cove laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you drudgingly made your way back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake as damp clothes weighed the group down. Uh-oh. Hot moms. Hot MILFs. Just standing outside, waiting for their kids to come home. Alright. Wait a second. Am I crazy? Do you see my whiter mom on the right? Do her hands look a little bit weird? Do you see that? I don't know. Her hands just looks a little weird how she has them positioned and how they look. Whatever. Whatever, mom. I mean, my dark-skinned mom's hands look nice. I don't know what's going on with my white mom. Your moms are outside chatting to Cove's dad. We're back. Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you were all in, ranging from messy to soaked.
No.
Elizabeth, is that all that you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you. They certainly did. What's Marigold going to do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home? Cold and filthy? Lizzie's expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the loudest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to... being the oldest. Why did I read the loudest? I mean, I guess if you move around some of the letters in there, it almost looks like loudest. But it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Claws. Shiloh do be fake AF when he grew up, though. What? Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he ruffled Cove's matted hair. You've been out making memories, bucko. I'm glad you had a good time with your friends. Cove used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened too when he noticed even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried too. I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and had just as much fun. I mean, she is the loudest. You should have been watching these kids, mums. That might be right, kids. What can you do? Come on, Cove, let's go get you cleaned up and dried off. We wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset. Cove winced at the thought.
Okay.
How did he break his arm anyway? Did he ever explain that? That a boy. Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove up off the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble.
Take care.
Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff. Night, Tsubasa family and Shiloh too.
Fine.
Well, we'd better do what we can to fix you guys up too. Come on, everybody, inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom.
Ugh.
Yes, Mom. Okay, Lizzie's mom. Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight. Sitting on an old beach towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall until you were less sandy and you weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without a hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. There was no fun allowed. Cleanup session? It was a no fun allowed cleanup session, at least that's what she claimed. Not much longer and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea. Oh, okay. Let's do sleepover then. Alright, kids, we're done with dinner. Come to the table. If we're done with dinner, why do we have to come to the table? What the heck, Mom? Your stomach grumbled, right on time. Oh, you mean you're done cooking dinner. As if it had heard your mom's words, you halted your game and looked over. Oops. Mom was almost done setting the table. She was walking around the mahogany wood in the process of putting down the cutlery. Mommy was still in the kitchen, humming under her breath as she turned off the stove and put empty pots in the sink to wash. From beside you, Lizzie stirred, uncrossing her legs and standing up. She stretched her arms above her head. Finally, I'm ready to eat. Then she cast a sly glance in your direction. You recognized this look. Last one to the table is a rotten egg. I haven't... But it was too late. Lizzie had already bolted towards the kitchen. You tried to catch up to her, you stayed sitting, you yelled out to her. You threw a cushion at her. Let's chuck something at her. Grabbing one of the cushions from the sofa, you threw it half-heartedly towards her in hopes of slowing her down. Did we miss? It wasn't firm enough, however, and the cushion landed with a plop in the ground instead. Girl, you just need to train your throwing arm. You got those weak woman arms. Weak, twink woman arms. Anyway. It was a short distance to the kitchen table. Lizzie managed to get there easily enough, slapping a hand over the wood. Mom moved just before Lizzie could bump into her. With an exasperated sigh, she resumed her work. I win again! You didn't win because you're racing by yourself. Exactly. No, I told you we were both racing. You're just you're just so slow. I wasn't racing and you know it. That sounds like something a rotten egg would say. Lizzie grinned, her hands on her hips, then looked over your shoulder. Cove, you can be the tiebreaker. Was that a real race that I totally won? You blinked. You'd almost forgotten about him. The fact that Cove preferred to keep to himself didn't help matters either. You spotted Cove still on the floor. His legs were crossed beneath him, the arm with the cast resting in his lap. He looked at the two of you with a slight frown. It felt sort of strange to see him still here so late. Tonight Cove had come to your house for a sleepover. Your moms and his dad had planned it a few days ago. You were surprised. You'd overheard your moms discussing it before. I mean, you weren't surprised. You had expected it when your moms told you, but you didn't think Cove would come. The idea made you uncomfortable. He was going to sleep in your room. I didn't mind Cove sleeping over. It was just for one night. Even if he's not really your friend, he isn't the worst person in the world. He's not really our friend? Still? Really? I thought we were totally cool with Cove by now. I guess not. I guess I'm just cool with Cove since he's my little man. Damn. Cove pursed his lips at Lizzie's question, but he didn't respond. Maybe he was planning on ignoring her. Not that Lizzie would make it easy.
Come on!
Well, did I win or what? Cove still didn't respond. He turned away, refusing to weigh in. Lizzie glowered, but it had no effect. She crossed her arms and turned back to you. There you go, I won. He didn't say anything. So that means it should be up to the oldest instead. You're still the rotten egg. Oh god, she's about to kill this Lizzie. That's enough. Nobody here is a loser or a rotten egg. You're each farm fresh. Which is a sentence I never thought I'd say. Not directly to you, of course, because I've been planning to eat you while you're all in your sleep for years now. Seriously, like, did you see the grin?
Alright.
Oh god, no, put it back away. Now listen to Mom and come sit at the table for dinner, all three of you. You and Lizzie obeyed, sitting across from each other at the edge of the table. Lizzie blew a raspberry at you when Mom turned her back. Your parents brought the last of the food. Then they took seats further down the table instead of sitting right next to you and Lizzie. Only Cove was left out. He had stood up from his spot on the floor, but he hadn't made a move towards the kitchen. Cove, you can sit too. Slowly, he eyed out the 4 seats that were left. Thanks to the new seating arrangement your parents chose, 1 free chair is beside you, another next to Lizzie, and the last 2 are on the other side where your moms were sitting. Sit next to me. He hung his head and scuttled past you, Lizzie, and your moms. He went to the chair on the opposite edge of the table and sat down. It seemed being far away is what he wanted. Your moms frowned. Dude. Come on. You shrugged it off and turned back to your plate. Now that everyone was situated, Mommy began to pass out plates.
Okay.
It's because you didn't change how you felt about Cove when this step started? What are you talking? This is the first step. Honey, how am I supposed to change how this step started? It's the first step. You're crazy. Dig in, kids. I cooked a little bit of everything for dinner tonight. Be sure not to avoid all the veggies.
Ugh.
Yes, Mom. Each person at the table served themselves, except for one. Cove hesitated again. He fidgeted with his hands, clamped on top of his knees. He didn't seem very comfortable doing stuff in someone else's house. One dish seemed to have his eye at least. That's pineapple chicken. Want to try some? Not really. Sorry. By then, your moms had noted that Cove still had nothing on his plate as well. Do you not like any of the food, honey?
Well...
Maybe he hasn't tried Hawaiian food before. This is Hawaiian. Are we in Hawaii? Hawaii? I don't know. I don't think we're in Hawaii. He hasn't? Wow. Please don't talk with your mouth full, Lizzie. Lizzie swallowed the bite she was eating, then she spoke again. He should try it now. She turned to Cove dramatically. Unless you want to shrink, that's what happens if you miss a meal. Elizabeth, that's not true. You know that. Cove squirmed under all the attention. He fidgeted with the fork between his fingers. You had a slider that asked you how you felt about him and had 3 versions? Sis? I don't know what you're talking about. I remember a slider at the end of the prologue or something. I was indifferent or something. But it's not like I could change it at that point. I couldn't do anything. I've had some things, just not any of this.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I had indifference, but it's not like I could change it. What do you want me to do? I'm trying to get Cove to love me. What do you want? Oh shoot, I knew I should have asked your dad what your favorite foods were. It's alright. Lonnie, maybe he'll find a new favorite today. You weren't so sure about that. Cove didn't look like he was going to be trying the food anytime soon. You let your moms handle this? I think you'd like the pineapple chicken, it's yummy. Give me your plate. Try something new. No, give me your plate. I'm gonna do it for you. Cove was a little confused by your request, but he handed it to you anyway. He was ready for this to be resolved. You took the plate from him and piled on only the best foods on it. He watched you work intently, his good hand shoved underneath his leg. We wanted you to bring your mouse over to the slider and click on it to move it? What? I don't think that... You couldn't manually do that, could you? What? Are you lying to me? I don't know. Are you sure you could do that? When you were satisfied with the amount on his plate, you returned it. You should like some of these.
Thanks. Good job.
That was very kind of you, Joseph. You flushed at the praise. At first, Cove poked at the food. Clearly he was apprehensive to eat something new, but he took a few exploratory bites.
Right?
It's good, huh? Isn't it? Yeah, that's the one you're talking about. You could have changed it, but it's too late now? What? I thought you changed it with your choices. What is this? Can't believe this. You don't have to keep asking. Can I change it later? He still speared more meat with his fork and ate it, chewing thoughtfully. It's not bad. Mommy grinned at his words, satisfied, even though it wasn't exactly a glowing commendation. Lizzie wasn't as mollified. You're so weird. Don't be mean to your friend. We're not friends. Oh. Mommy floundered in the face of Clove's blunt honesty. It seems strange that your mommy was taken aback by the news. When had they gotten along? And you didn't consider yourself to be friends with him either. Oh my god, stop! Is this because I'm indifferent? Is this because I'm indifferent? Oh my god. You can change it in step 2? Oh my lord. Alright, well, I guess we're just gonna be totally jerks. We're just gonna be total jerks to Cove for the rest of this step. And then suddenly, when he has his glow up in middle school, we're just gonna be all over that, you know? We're just gonna be all over that. So, as far as you were concerned, he was your neighbor and nothing else. Your mommy looked at Mom and only got a shrug.
No.
Elizabeth, don't call someone weird. There's no such thing as a weird person and a non-weird person. There's just different perspectives. It's not a nice thing to say to someone. Anyone. But Pam... Mommy tried to whisper exclusively to Mom. Her attempt to make it audible over the sounds of clanking silverware meant you caught the quiet words anyway. They're not friends. He said so. As parents, we can only try and sometimes we fail. Not all kids will be thick as thieves. Now less talking and more eating, kids. You need to clean up and start winding down for bed soon. But Mom! Also, Mom, I need to wind up for bed. I mean, I'm going to bed with Cove. That's hot. No buts. We've talked about this. Your bedtime will be moved back in a few years, but for now you don't get to stay up late. Lizzie sulked, muttering under her breath about how it wasn't right. You laughed at Mom's phrasing. You groaned about it as well. You laughed. You couldn't contain your snorts. Something the matter, Joseph? Mom says, no buts. Lizzie scoffed and rolled her eyes, unimpressed by such crude words. Mommy snickered along with you, however. That's right, no buts allowed here. You'll have to get rid of yours. Why does Mom look so pissed off at the joke? Calm down, Mom, it's just a joke. No, I need it. I need it for Cove. Yeah, you see how Cove's giving me those eyes? He wants me to keep my butt. We need that. The two of you continued to chuckle, and Cove even cracked a smile. Children. I'm surrounded by children. The rest of your dinner passed by uneventfully. Cove was silent for most of it, even when your moms attempted to include him in the conversation. All too soon, the table was cleared and the games in the living room were put away. And you are all steered to your bedrooms. He's sleeping in the same bed as us, right? Right? I wish. Mom finished tucking you in and kissed your brow just as Mommy poked her head in the room. All ready for lights off, you two? You were lying comfortably in your bed, the blanket hiked up under your armpits. You could kick it off later if it got too hot. Mom had set up the sleeping bag on the floor for Cove just beside your bed. You'd already wiggled inside. I think so.
Good night.
Perfect. I'll go say goodnight to Lizzie then. Mom tweaked your nose, chuckled when you squawked in annoyance, and left. Mommy took her place, sitting on the edge of your bed.
Sweet dreams.
She pressed a soft kiss onto your forehead. You giggled as strands of her hair fell forward and tickled you. Mommy smiled down affectionately at you, then moved her attention to Cove, who watched from his spot on the floor. Do you need anything before falling asleep, honey? What does your dad do? Sometimes he picks me up and lifts me really high and he shakes his hands like he's gonna let go, but then he catches me again. He keeps doing that until sometimes he drops me on my bed, or other times he lowers me down and we pretend like I'm crashing. Cove had become pretty excited when talking about the nightly ritual he and his dad shared. He seemed to realize how animated he was and bashfully quieted. But I don't want to do that here.
Aww.
Aw, how fun. Though I think you're right. It might not be a good idea to do that tonight. The sleeping bag might not be a soft enough landing. If there's anything else, you can always ask me or Joseph's other mom. But I'm the nicer one. Just don't tell her that. Ooh, we got some lesbian rivalry. She's the better mom. She laughed good-naturedly and stood up.
Take care.
Sleep well, Cove. Night. Leaning against the door jamb. The door jamb? Jamb. Door jamb. What the? I don't know what that is. She rested a hand on the light switch and looked at you. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. With a last smile, Mommy turned off the lights and stepped out, closing the bedroom door behind her. You listened to her footsteps fade as she walked down the hallway. You closed your eyes and snuggled in, prepared to drift off. You started when Cove sighed deeply. You turned your head to look in his direction. In the dark, you could only see the faint outline of a lump under the covers. What? There's a lump under your covers, Cole. Are we talking about your whole body? Or just one specific lump? In the dark, you could only see a faint... Wait, I already read that. Cove? What's wrong? Why are you so excited? Do you need help with your lump? What's wrong? I can't sleep. Okay, well, just get out of your sleeping bag, come up here, and, my cheeks are ready. Why not? He shifted, or at least you thought he did. You couldn't see anything since your eyes were still adjusting to the dark, but you heard his sleeping bag rustle. I want to be in my bed. Oh. Cove sat up. Your eyes had gotten used to the low light level, so you could see him better. You got out of the sleeping bag, wobbled towards your side table, and pulled open the top drawer. What is it? I'm getting my glasses. You sat up too, watching as he reached inside. He paused for a second, then pulled his hand out. Instead of his glasses, though, he was holding a book. Cove turned it around in his hands, trying to figure out the proper orientation for it. You knew without even reading the title which one it was. That was one your moms would read to you. It was special. Let's see, be careful, that's mine. I thought you were looking for your glasses. What are you doing with that? What are you doing with that? Cove shrugged, squinting at the newly found cover in the dark. I just thought it looked cool. The compliment he afforded your special book had you grinning, your confusion forgotten. It is really cool.
Oh?
Oh yeah? What's it about? It's a story about a squire who wants to become a knight, and there's magic. Does it have mermaids? No, but I love the main character because the squire is brave and funny. It has cool pictures. Some of them take up the whole page. Mommy reads it to me. She uses different voices for every character. There's a dragon in it. How about Mommy reads it to me? She uses different voices for every character, just like me. Some of them are really silly too. There's a lot of characters and they all have good lines, so it's fun. You only realized afterwards that you spoke more strongly than you had meant to. Your cheeks burned. This must have been how Cove felt earlier. Thankfully, Cove didn't seem annoyed. In fact, if you didn't know any better, it seemed like he liked the explanation. Usually Cove sported a disinterested expression on his face, or a sad one. You could probably count the number of times you'd seen him smile on one hand. Right now, though, he looked excited as he flipped the book over and focused at the backside to try to learn more. You were reminded of the hours you spent hearing the tales. No matter how many times you read it, or had it read to you, you were still entertained by the story and the pictures inside. You glanced out the window. The moon was high in the sky. It was definitely the time when you were supposed to be asleep. You wanted to read the... Let's read the book with Cove. You climbed out of bed and padded over to your side table. You opened it and rummaged around, pushing aside stuffed toys and crayons. Cove called out to you in a confused whisper. What are you doing? Getting something we need. You let out a quiet cry of victory when you found what you were looking for. You jumped back onto the bed before any hidden boogeyman could catch you unaware. Cove continued to watch as you wiggled your way beneath the blanket you discarded earlier. You pulled it up over your head. What's... You have to come here. Bring the book, too. Oh my god. Look, our little man's under the covers with us. After a minute, the bed dipped as Cove got on it. Then the blanket shifted. You fiddled with the flashlight in your grip, feeling for the switch. Ah! With a click, the small space flooded with a bright light. Cove sputtered, putting a hand up to shield himself from the beam. Move it somewhere else. Sorry. You hurriedly tilted the flashlight so it was shining down at the floor of your blanket cave and away from Cove's sensitive eyes. Now we can read and my moms won't know. I do this all the time. I'm a little rebel. I'm a little rebel that stays up late into the night to read books. My moms don't my moms don't even know a thing. Cute? Absolutely. My little man is cute. I don't stay up for too long because mom or mommy check on me sometimes. I haven't been caught yet. Do you want to try? Cove nodded, pleased by his straightforward response. You placed a book between you and flipped it open to the first page. Meanwhile, he lay down on his belly and shuffled closer, picking up the flashlight to shine it on the pages. His face was illuminated with a warm glow. You mirrored his position, leaning in so you could see the book better. Your forehead's nearly brushed until you shuffled back a comfortable distance. No, let him brush more. Let's press our forehead against his forehead. You flipped through the pages to show Cove you thought it was best to take turns. You wanted the story to be narrated. Start narrating it, jerk. You loved it when mommy read it to you. Why not read aloud as you dared? Why not read as loud as you dared this time of night? Though you felt a little embarrassed, your excitement over introducing another person to this special story won out. You didn't even need to study the page for long. There was once a squire who dreamed of knighthood. All they wanted was to do good. Cove was taken aback when you began to recite the words by heart. You even pronounced knighthood properly, a word which had given you grief in the past. His reaction encouraged you to keep going. Soon you got to an exciting part, the squire and the dragon's first meeting. The squire walked up to the fearsome dragon, their borrowed swords in one hand and a torch in the other. Her red scales danced in the light like flickering flames. Could you say the dragon's lines? Do you need to get your glasses? No, my head hurts if I don't wear my glasses for a while. I can kind of see things alright, but I don't know any voices. That's okay, it's fun anyway. You hoped he would agree, but Cove vehemently shook his head. Looked like it was just up to you. You continued the dramatic reading, reciting the lines for all the characters. The next time you looked up from the page, your eyes landed right on Cove. His eyes were following the text, a soft smile lighting up his features. A lock of his hair fell into his field of vision, but he gave it no notice. He was lost in the story. Your eyelids started to droop. When your eyes opened again, your bedroom was pitch black and silent. Your head was smushed in by your pillow, your pajamas were sticking to you, and your mouth was dry. Slowly you raised yourself onto your elbows. You yawned, the back of your throat twinging as you did so. You rolled onto the side of your bed to sit up in bed, planning on getting water from the kitchen when you saw a dark shape towering above you. You froze. Then you remembered you weren't alone in your room tonight. Cove, that you?
Yeah.
You shifted and felt something cylindrical press against your thigh? Cove, we're just 8 years old. Wouldn't you at least want to wait until middle school or high school? I don't know about this. What if my mom walks in? Gosh, guys, I don't know. You fumbled for it. The familiar weight of the flashlight pressed into your palm. You turned it on. Cove blinked at you, looking exhausted. He was in his normal clothes again, shoes and everything. His pajama pants were left on the floor, abandoned. His sleeping bag was in a similar state. What is it? Can't sleep. I keep waking up. Did you have a bad dream? He shook his head from side to side. No, just can't sleep. It's weird here. Oh my god, Cove, just sleep with me. You frowned. You'd helped your moms redecorate it only a few months back. I like my room. It's weird to me. I want to sleep in my bed. I'm gonna go. What? That shook off the last of your doziness. He was gonna walk outside back to his own house, this time of night, all by himself? He noted your shocked expression and looked at you with resolve. My dad will let me in, and I've gone outside late before, and I have to go. You don't have to. I should tell my moms. No, I don't want you to. I'll just leave. My dad can call them in the morning. You knew that you could just let him go, but something inside you was saying that wouldn't be the right thing to do. It's too late for you to go outside on your own. It'd be bad. Cove grumbled quietly, though stayed put. Okay, you can tell them. I'll wait. Good. You better do what I say, ho. I'm the dom here. You thought you were gonna be the dom, Cove? Get real. When you crept into their bedroom, Mom was still up reading in bed, while Mommy had already fallen asleep. When Mom woke Mommy up, they were both surprised to hear that Cove wanted to leave, and the two of them followed you back to your room to see him.
Sweetie.
Oh my god, you radiate such powerful energy, Mommy. Oh god. I'm so sorry to disturb your sleeping, Mommy. Cove, are you alright, sweetie? Is there anything we can do to help? Mommy sounded tired after having just woken up, but she smiled at Cove kindly. Cove shook his head firmly, not meeting anyone's eyes as he did so. I just want to go home. We're just sorry you don't feel comfortable staying. How about you come downstairs with us and we'll call your dad to get you? Cove headed past your moms and out of the room. Mom turned to you before leaving. Alright, off to sleep, kiddo. We'll make sure Cove is taken care of. Good night again. Good night, Joseph. She still looks hot even she's about to rail her wife. Oh my god. Yes, it's very powerful lesbian energy. You listened to the sounds of their footsteps on the stairs as you huddled back down in bed, pulling your blanket up around your shoulders. You know, sometimes I wonder, when I post this video to YouTube, how offended the developers will be at the comments that I'm saying. Especially regarding Cove, even though he's just 8 right now. I wonder, how disgusted they're going to be. Because sometimes the developers watch my videos, and it's just like, ooh. It's like, ooh. You listen to the sounds of their footsteps on the stairs as you huddled back down in bed, pulling your blanket up around your shoulders. It didn't bother you that Cove had left. At least now you didn't have to worry if he would snore and keep you awake all night. Eventually your eyes started getting heavy, and with a loud yawn, you finally got comfortable in your bed and drifted off to sleep. The next morning you were awoken by the sounds of Mom's voice and a soft shake on your shoulder. Joseph, wake up! It's time to get up and at 'em! The sun was peeking through your curtains, and you rubbed at your eyes as they adjusted to the new light. Mom sat down on the bed next to you and you blinked at her for a moment confused. Some of the developers be big mad, LMAO. Well then why are they putting shotas in their games? Don't put shotas in your games then. You blinked at her for a moment, confused until you caught the empty sleeping bag on the ground and remembered what had happened during the night. Mr. Holden came over to pick up Cove and take him home. You should have seen his hair when he turned up half asleep. It was even messier than Mommy's in the morning. She chuckled at the thought, and you could tell she was trying to make you feel better about the whole situation, so you smiled back at her.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us know that Cove wasn't feeling good, Joseph. That was a nice thing to do. You nodded in agreement. Yeah, I know I'm nice. I know I'm a good kid. Thanks. You don't have to tell me what I already know. And Mom went on to say that maybe once Cove started to feel more comfortable, that he could try and sleep over again sometime. You shrugged the idea off, not particularly caring, oh my god, if that happened anytime soon or not. You could have told your parents they shouldn't have tried to do this in the first place. Of course it wouldn't end well. The next time you saw Cove and Mr. Holden, they both apologized for Cove having left so suddenly. You assured them that it was okay. In the end, the two of you and your parents were eventually able to move past the ill-fated sleepover. It had all been a learning experience according to the adults. You could accept that. There were definitely things you learned from it. Woohoo! Alright. Okay, let's do one more moment today. Also trying to finish this oatmeal. Oh god. Oatmeal's all over my lips. Why not do fireflies?
Alright!
Catch these twink hands, a famous Kuro quote. You know it. You miss my burning heart? Well, next week, final episode's coming out, I think. Anyway. Alright, tonight we're gonna catch fireflies! At this blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over summer, coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around. Oh, are you now? You started eating faster, yeah. You looked over at your mom's. You pushed food on your plate. How about yeah? You rocked lightly from side to side in your seat, already excited for your after-dinner activity. Catching fireflies was a great way to spend summer evening, and you could already envision the little lightning bugs drifting through the darkened sky. That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we, Mrs. Tsubasa? Shiloh tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why. Probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep her running around outside. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree. Well, it's already dark out there. Well, how else are we gonna catch fireflies? Okay, Mom? Think with your brain. Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited there for their response.
There.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. Ooh, Mommy's coming in. She's the hero. She is the better lesbian mom, just like she said. Your parents exchanged a look, then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back. Along with Lizzie's cheers, you threw your arms up in triumph, but waited until you'd finished chewing to say anything because you knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full.
Fine.
Hey Kuro, Vizier, really? Now you're curious? Yeah? You're talking about my burning heart? What? I mean, yeah, I finished the video for it. Anyway. Fine, just make sure you stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay?
Duh,
Mom, that's where most of them are. The idea had only just been planted in your head, but already you could just picture all the glowing lights spread out in front of you, like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy reads sometimes. All too quickly it became a race to see who could finish their food first. No choking at the dinner table now. That's right, if someone died we'd have to cancel the Firefly trip after all. Mom said it like a joke, but you knew that they were both telling you kids to slow down. Shiloh did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should. Elizabeth!
Jeez.
No one's going to die. Sheesh. A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister. Let's just toss Lizzie away. We don't need her. I'll get it. Is it Cove? Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking out the window to see who it was.
Huh?
You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest.
Hi.
Good evening, Cove. Your mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see Shiloh's flappy hat. Why is Cove here? Is something wrong? He didn't give you any clear acknowledgement, his eyes firmly fixed on the ground in front of him. You shrugged, going back to shoveling a forkful of macaroni into your mouth. Then for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with a face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off, 'cause I guess he borrowed it from you. Cove took a familiar screwdriver from out of his large side pocket. Eyes now dropped to the floor. We left ours back home when we moved. Great, thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here, why don't you come inside for a bit? Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged and Mom stood from the table too. I'll give your dad a call to let him know you'll be here all right. I read that all wrong. Anyway, Cove shuffled fully inside, his eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the door behind him.
Hi.
You told them they're vampires? Oh my gosh. Yes, we already know this mom's ready to murder. Hi, Cove. Shiloh gave Cove a friendly smile while waving by holding up his hands and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response. Are you gonna catch fireflies with us? You should come outside with us if you want to. You weren't sure what to say now. Cove, you gonna catch fireflies with us? Let's go, sis. You could see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider, but she'd get over it. If Cove said no, you'd understand though. Catching fireflies wasn't something that everyone liked to do.
Okay.
I want to see them. I've never caught one before. It's too bad he didn't have the chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must not have been any where he used to live. We can't go until after dinner. After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cove stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal. Have you eaten yet? Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier. What did you have? Eggs for dinner? The clipped one-word answer seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended, 'cause your mom came back into the room.
Okay.
Cove, your dad said you can stay for a little while if you'd like, but he's going to come get you before it gets too much later. Sure.
Fun.
This will be so nice. As you polished off the meal, you hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far. It's fine, Mom. Shiloh trailed so closely after Lizzie, he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. Stop simping in my own family, okay? Just in my own home. It's just enough. Cove hesitated at the door. You smiled lightly at Cove, gesturing for him to follow. After a moment, he did.
Bye.
Bye, children. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh by the time you walked outside. You pushed the door shut behind you. watching their figures get farther and farther away.
Hurry up!
You're so slow, Joseph. We don't have all night. You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. Are you not gonna come? Tug him along? Let's tug him along. You didn't want to get left behind or you'd be in trouble for losing him. You gave his arm a pull, but immediately recoiled when he hissed. Girl, don't go hissing at me, you snake. In your hurry, you'd accidentally grabbed his cast arm? You hadn't thought about that? Dude, what are you doing? Sorry. What? It's fine, just go by yourself. You couldn't help but feel bad as he rubbed his arm and refused to look at you. But since it didn't seem like he wanted you there, you did what he said and hurried to the hill. There were already a lot of fireflies out, glowing, bobbing about like buoys on a wave. Lizzie was standing on top. Shiloh was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle. Where's Cove? You looked behind you, wondering if you upset him enough to send him home. But a second later, he rounded the corner, looking around at all the fireflies with interest.
Wow.
Shiloh took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill. Hi guys, it's really great out, huh? See how many there are? Yeah. A firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea green head. Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You and Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You quietly looked on. You shooed the bug away? How about Shiloh couldn't help but giggle? You had to admit, it was a pretty funny sight, especially when Cove didn't know what was there. What? Oh, look, Lizzie has one. That's amazing. Shiloh ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozens of other fireflies sailing around. The game was on. Spotting one close by, you approached it with assassin-like stealth. Crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms outstretched. Oops. You closed your hands around it, the little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Don't we need jars to catch them? Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it, his pink cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clasp his hands around the firefly. Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. Encourage him again. You told him about the firefly you had. You made a joke about what happened. Encourage him, try again. Oh. You walked up beside him and gave him an encouraging smile. Cove didn't say anything, and you thought he must be upset. He walked further up the hill and continued his hunt, and you let your own firefly flutter back into the air. That was fine, you had your own plans. Let's collect some more. With renewed vigor, you ran out into the hill. You're not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. At first, you tried to keep a tally of how many you had caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill with the crash of the oceans and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt.
Come on!
Joseph, Cove, get up here. We're gonna have a race. The shouting caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you had heard from Lizzie or Shiloh. You glanced over to see them both standing on top of the hill. Again, Lizzie beckoning you with quick hand gestures. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove was coming up as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might be intrigued by the idea. Hi.
Cove.
Cove, you can't roll down the hill. You could hurt your arm again. You'll be the referee for the rest of us. As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was that kind of race. He frowned down at his cast. That was the second time it got in the way of tonight. And this wasn't even the first time she had asked him to be a referee for one of her sudden races. What? Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important, got it?
I guess.
The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason not to make someone else the referee, but it was already decided. Alright, you got in position. I'll stay with Cove. I'm gonna do something else. I'll stay with Cove.
Really?
Really? Why? You don't have to. It's okay, I want to watch. You moved beside him on top of the hill, even though Lizzie eyed you and made a face. That's not how races work. We only need one referee. Shrugging your shoulders, you refused to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air. Fine, I'll be the winner whether you join or not. Lizzie moved to lay down, and Shiloh did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point, and you stood next to him. Count down! Cove stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duties seriously. 3, 2, 1, go! Lizzie and Shiloh took off, letting gravity do the work and rolling at high speed towards the bottom of the hill. They're gonna land into a sharp rock and they're gonna die. You and Cove leaned forward to watch them go, eyes peeled for which of the two of them would reach the bottom first. They were both neck and neck until about halfway down the hill. Lizzie started to veer off to the side, giving Shiloh a huge advantage. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing, and as soon as Shiloh reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped up excitedly and threw his hands in the air. I won! Almost immediately, he fell back on the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lizzie stomped out of the bush she had ended up in, sputtering angrily and brushing leaves from the front of her dress. Not bad, you got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real. Kids, it's time to come in.
Ugh.
No! You snickered, feeling grateful you hadn't been part of the mini debacle. You caught Cove's eyes and saw that he was doing the same. It had gotten late and was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills, but the cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. The four of you walked back home together side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you had a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did. Alright. I guess that's the end of, that moment.